Stop begging for the yes. It makes you look desperate, it's awkward for the prospect, and at the end of the day, it crushes your soul. Instead, use this 5-step process I use in every prospect meeting, including my ultimate objection killer that so far has a perfect track record. Those of you that don't know me, I'm Matthew Jarvis. I built a $2 million a year RIA, but it was not always a $2 million RIA. It started out as a $0. In fact, by year 5, I was still only making $16,000. That's right, $16,000. And then I learned this way to ask for the yes that wasn't awkward. See, I used to ask for the yes, kind of like you did, which is some variation of, hey, I really want you as a client. It would make my day. I feel really special. I really could use the money. Please don't ask me what I charge or why I charge it or what I'll do for you. Just sign up. Like just mail in the check, right? Or it comes across as like an awkward teenager asking a pretty girl to the dance, like, hey, would you please become a client, please? Like it's not a win for anyone. It's a lose-lose. So here are the 5 steps that I use in every prospect meeting to get the yes in a way that makes me feel confident and makes the prospect not awkward, makes it like easy for them to say yes. So number 1, identify the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is anytime I meet with somebody who I'm not yet a client of, I'm waiting for the hard sell. The most egregious example of this would be a timeshare presentation. Come join us for a free dinner and we're just going to hang out. But you know the hard sell is coming. Same when I go to the car dealership. I know the hard sell is coming. And so call that out in advance. So when I sit down with a prospect, I say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect, here's what we're going to talk about today. And at the end of this meeting, here's going to be the hard sell. And I do it just like that. Here's the hard sell. So for the first meeting, I would say, hey, the hard sell at the end of this meeting is I'm going to ask you if you want me to draw up a 1-page financial plan for you. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect, I'm not going to charge for this because before you pay me $1 in fees or trust me with a penny of your nest egg, I need you to see exactly what it is I can do for you. And so that's that process. Does that sound okay to you? And the prospect says, yeah, it sounds great. Now we can go through the entire meeting without them worrying about the sell, without me feeling awkward about the sell because I've already hit that nail on the head. In the second meeting, when I want them to become a client, I'm going to say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect, at the end of this meeting, the hard sell is going to be, I'm going to invite you to go home and sleep on it. And after you've slept on it, you're going to have 3 options. Option number 1, you can say, hey, Matthew, this is really great stuff, but you know what? I think we can implement it on our own. Option number 2, you can say, hey, Matthew, this is really great stuff, but you're just not quite our kind of guy. And so we're going to go find someone else to implement this with. And option number 3, and let me be real honest, this is my favorite option, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect, is that you say, Matthew, this is great stuff, and we want to hire you to implement this for us. So those are your 3 options, but of course, I'm going to insist that you go home and sleep on this before we take any action. Is that okay with you? And they always say yes, and they're always relieved, and then the entire meeting can be us interacting because we've already identified the elephant in the room. Number 2, explain the process. While your process may or may not be clear in your mind, though it's probably not, it's definitely not clear in the prospect's mind. Is this meeting going to be an hour or 3 hours? Do I have to pay up front or do I pay down the road? Is there a contract? Is there not a contract? Do I have to share my personal information or not? What are you going to give me? All of these things are unknown to the prospect, and so it creates fear and anxiety for the prospect. It also creates fear and anxiety for you because you're wondering, like, hey, are they going to like this next step in the process? So instead, I explained to them on the initial phone call, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect, we've designed a process by which you can make an educated and informed decision about working with our firm. The great news is you can also use this process for any other firms you're considering. Does that sound okay to you? And of course, they say yes. And then I walk through what our process looks like, which is another video. And then I know, and they know what each step is going to look like. So again, step number 2 is explain the process in advance. Step number 3, I alluded to this already, which is they sleep on it process, which means I want them to have no pressure on the sale. Now, think about this in contrast to buying a truck. I recently bought a truck, so this comes up all the time. What did the dealership tell me? Hey, listen, if you leave today, you're not going to be able to get the same deal. These are unique terms. You really got to sign up today. We don't want you to go look at any other cars. Right? That puts a lot of pressure on me, and I'm taking all the risk. I'm taking the risk that I'm going to buy the wrong thing, and so I'm nervous about that. So instead, I want to take all the risk away from the prospect, which means I'm going to tell them, hey, at the end of this process, I'm going to want you to go home and sleep on it. Now, we're not going to leave this open-ended. I'm going to make sure, and this will be the next step, that they've got a meeting always booked next, but I want to take the pressure away. Same would be true if you're charging fees, if you're charging a planning fee. Mr. and Mrs. Prospect, if we get to the end of this process, and if by any measure you feel that wasn't worth your fee, I will gladly refund the fee because it's far more important to me that we part ways as friends than I collect your fee, right? So I always want to take the pressure off of them, not me. And it's really, if we think about it, it's not even fair for them to have the pressure. Like they came to you, they took the risk, they're explaining their financial situation, and then you're making them take all the risk? I don't think so. So take the pressure off of them. Number 4, always schedule the next meeting. Not only just always schedule the next meeting, all I'm solving for in the current meeting is the next meeting. When I have an initial phone call, the only thing I'm trying to get is that first meeting. And when I'm having the first meeting, all I'm trying to get is the second meeting. And when I'm having the second meeting, all I'm really trying to get is a third meeting. So remember, after the second meeting, they're sleeping on it. And I've given them, hey, you have 3 options, You're going to go home, you're going to sleep on this thing, Mr. and Mrs. Client or prospect. In my experience, you're going to think of some questions. I went through a lot of information really quickly. We've covered a lot of things. So let's go ahead and book a follow-up meeting where I can answer any questions that you have. And if by chance you decide to work with us, we'll be ready with the paperwork to get that started. But our primary goal is for you to get your questions answered. And again, back to number 3, which is take the risk away. I let them know, hey, listen, this is your entire life savings. And if we do this process right, we'll be the last financial advisor you ever hire because you'll be with us the rest of your life. I'm not in any rush. Now, I'm not in any rush for you to make this decision. Right? I'm taking all of the pressure away, but at the same time, I'm not leaving it open-ended. I'm not saying, hey, you just call me when you feel like calling me. That's too much up in the air. I'm always giving them the next step. So here's number 5. And this is the ultimate objection killer. I discovered this one in desperation during a prospect meeting. But I use this for every single objection, and it works every single time. And here's the ultimate solution, which is whatever their objection is, right? I don't know about your fees. I don't know if there's enough value. I don't know if I should move. I think I could do it myself. I say this, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect, great news is our fee is charged every calendar quarter or every 3 months. And it's a line item in your statement. It says advisory fee and a dollar amount. And every quarter, you'll look at that number and I'll look at that number and we'll both decide if the value exceeds the fee that we charged. And if the answer is yes, great news, we just go another calendar quarter. If the answer is ever no or even maybe, like if you have any doubt at all, we need to sit down. We're going to have a heart-to-heart discussion to find a solution. If we can't find a solution, we're going to go ahead and part ways as friends. You will keep all of the great work that we've done. And as a gesture of good faith, we'll refund our last quarter's fee and do everything we can to make that transition as smooth as possible. Right, so now I've taken, back to our prior step, I've taken all of the risk off the table for them, and I've made this an easy yes. They're not signing up for me for life, or even for a year, or even for 6 months, just for 3 months. And so if they have even further objections, I'll say, hey, listen, this one-page financial plan that we gave you, this was our first pass. This was the low-hanging fruit. Imagine what we're going to find when we start working together. So let's just do this. Let's just commit to working together for the next 3 months, the next calendar quarter. And if at the end of the 3 months you say, yeah, let's keep going, then we'll keep going. And if we get to the end of the 3 months and you say, you know what, I think you've done all you can do, perfect. You'll get to keep all the work that we've done and we'll part ways as friends. And as a gesture of good faith, we will refund the fee that we charged. Now, my advisor friends, as you're watching this and you think, well, Jarvis, you say all this really smoothly. It was not always that way. It was a lot of practice and it was a lot of talking to other advisors and saying, hey, when you get this objection, what do you do? When you have this problem, what do you do? When people go home to sleep on it, they don't call you back, how do you handle this? So all of these things were learned through a lot of experience, a lot of trial and error. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit like and subscribe. It makes a big difference. And check out my book, Delivering Massive Value, where we have all sorts of other great scripts and techniques. And until the next video, happy planning.